Hepworth is a crypto lawyer based out of Calgary. He graduated from the University of Manitoba with a Bachelor of Commerce degree in 2017, and then with a law degree in 2020. He helps ensure that crypto companies are in accordance with regulations. He's also an avid traveler with a particular appreciation for East Asia. Welcome, Frank.
Thanks for having me.
To get started, what got you excited about crypto in the first place?
It was something that always accompanied me, no matter where I traveled. So throughout university, I saw it as an excuse to do subsidized travel. So I exchanged to Asia and I took jobs overseas, and I was always exchanging fiat currency. And in 2017, someone sent me some Ether because he lost a bet. And it wasn't a very big amount that we bet, but just to make it easier and to avoid switching from American to Hong Kong dollars to Canadian, he's just asked, can I send you some Ether? And I said, sure. And then I had this Ether with me, and throughout the bull market in 2017 and all my travels afterwards, I always just had this Ether with me. Its price was going all over the place, but it was at least always with me. Whereas Canadian dollars and euros and all the other currencies I went through, I was always switching them. It was always such a hassle. And so I thought, okay, this crypto is pretty great. Then I started transacting with locals, and just the more I used it, the more I was like, oh, this works.
Okay.
So I loved it.
So Ether was the first cryptocurrency that you ever had. Do you remember how he gifted it to you?
Yeah, I think he made me download Trust Wallet. Shout out Trust Wallet. It's a great application. And he just, sort of did it for me. I would imagine, I don't have the best memory of it, but I imagine that he just told me how to pull up the QR code, and then he would have scanned it with his phone, I imagine, and would have just deposited it into my wallet. And then I just didn't touch it for a long time, but I did research it.
And when you were in Asia, did you ever use Ether or other cryptos to transact with people?
A little bit. Yeah, it was always Ether too, which in retrospect wasn't the right crypto to be using, but it was always more of a gimmick, just something I would do with other exchange students or something like that. And I'd make up. I got my first Ether by a bet, and so then I would be making up bets, just as an excuse, because at the end I could always be like, oh, you don't have crypto? Let's talk about crypto, so I can pay you what I owe you.
So from there, how did it get more serious? When did you get your next one, and what was it?
Well, I got Ether in 2017, and I didn't do any more trading or investing during that big bull market in 2017 where Bitcoin went up to 19,000. But I paid attention to that. And I know everyone's interest kind of died down in 2018 when the market crashed, but I was still traveling a ton during that time. And because I was traveling so much, the difference between the value of the Ether in my crypto wallet, in my Trust wallet, compared to the fiat currency I was always switching, I was like, okay, this is fundamentally different. And so I was just researching that whole time. And then at 2019, when Bitcoin was at its absolute lowest, it was 3,500 US. I had done enough research throughout that year and a half period. I was like, this is it. And then I scooped up Bitcoin at its absolute lowest point in quite some time, and kept on going from there.
Probably for the foreseeable future too. I don't think we're going to get back to $3,000 for Bitcoin.
I hope not.
I think many people hope not. Okay. Do you remember, so was Bitcoin the first cryptocurrency that you bought after Ether?
I think so, actually.
And you bought it, do you remember the specific reasons that you bought it for?
I had just been, this is something that you absolutely must own, which it is. So I had just done enough research throughout getting Ether all the way to 2019.
Why is it something that you must own?
It's...
If you can remember.
At that time?
Yeah.
Well, I had a good enough grasp on the fundamentals as why everyone should own some Bitcoin. There's a very clear-cut argument as to why you should own Bitcoin. It's I think it's you know, I guess if someone listening hasn't interacted with cryptocurrency before, then the easy argument is just that there's only 21 million. It's a finite resource. Game theory says that it's a lot better to just own it when it's cheap, because if it does become something that is taken up by the general population, which is certainly the trend, and it's finite. It's a finite thing. You should just get some for self-protection. It's an insurance policy, not a profit motive, even though you will profit. Right.
In the case that there's wide institutional usage, perhaps countries might even start putting it on their balance sheets, stuff like that. So it's best to buy it when it's cheap and have a little in your portfolio. This isn't investment advice, by the way. Just going through the ideas.
Yeah, it's just it's just a sequence of, I think, logical conclusions.
Right. Do you think that Bitcoin is a pyramid scheme?
I see this on like Reddit subreddits, and actually just some like pretty academic articles as well. And I think all the major financial news organizations, Bloomberg, CNBC, I think they all opine on it. And I think the answer is like, I guess technically, but only in the sense that like many other things which we value are also like Ponzi, like Ponzi schemes.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know how to answer that, but like, I guess so, maybe. Not really. No, it's not. It's like you should get some, because the Bitcoin blockchain is, I think, one of the most beautiful things on the planet. It's like this thing that anyone can reference, no matter where you are, what jurisdiction you're within, or belief system you have, and you just can't refute it. And we haven't had like a wonderful base layer like that before. That I can think of. It's a great thing.
Fair enough.
Public good, I guess. I think Vitalik would say.
Yeah, I think you're right about the idea that it's a pyramid scheme in the same sense that everything else is a pyramid scheme. Because I guess you could make the same argument for what the Zimbabwe dollar or whatever its past currency was also being a pyramid scheme, because the people who are in it at the beginning are the ones who benefit the most, and then as it starts to hyperinflate, the people who are closest to the money provider are the ones who benefit the most, and the ones who get the money last are the last people to benefit. And you can also look at stuff like art, where the value of it is not clear at all. Its utility is not clear at all, and I guess you might just be a sucker who doesn't know how to value art properly, and then you're ending up with it. And maybe like a famous artist like Banksy, his pieces are super valuable, except it's like a scheme perpetuated by the most wealthy people to just launder all of their money, and you're the sucker who buys into it, and then they get away with huge profit, something like that.
I guess so. Yeah, like that's what it could be, right? But it won't be.
Yeah, there was a point brought up in the congressional hearings that 80% of people who have bought Bitcoin have never sold it. So that would probably counter the argument in part that it's a pyramid scheme.
I'll never let mine go.
Yeah.
It'd have to be like kidnap family member.
And a good family member too.
Yeah, like most of them are in the UK. Like basically you got to be in Canada if you're not. Like,
right.
I love my Bitcoin.
Crypto isn't just about buying different tokens though, it's also using them. Learning through skin in the game is something that I'm pretty big on, because I'm not a coder, and I think that the best way to learn about crypto is through
taking some L's.
Yeah, making mistakes, learning the hard way.
Yeah.
But c'est la vie. What crypto project or task did you first try doing? You can remember.
Binance was a big one. Love Binance. Just setting up an account in Binance and just trading, the whatever crypto I had at the time for different cryptos. You did that for a long time, and it's definitely what most people do.
Trading.
Yeah, just trading.
Okay.
Yeah. But
did you make money or not really?
So yeah, I put in a decent amount of money in that 2019 lull. So it was difficult not to make money, really.
You just bought and hold.
No, but no, I would make money and put it in, and make more money and put it in, and
okay.
Yeah, you just keep, because the layer one wars are like a real war. Like the layer one tokens, kind of jumping a few steps ahead in the complexity maybe, but like it's a super valid investment strategy to just pick up like $5,000 of each of like maybe the top 10 coins, and then maybe the majority will eventually fade away, but the one that doesn't will be 1,000x. Like that's a valid thesis, and it's one I subscribe to, but not with but that didn't prevent me from trading with other cryptocurrencies. There's so many awesome projects, like, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and that's definitely how I did most of my investing, was listening to the CEOs. I'm often a better judge of character, I feel, than a white paper. I can't get the technicalities sometimes, or often, but I like to think that I can get people, and that has actually done me well. But I guess the more direct answer to your question is that I probably staked crypto, like maybe like ADA, Cardano. Maybe I staked that or something. I can't remember. I didn't. And
this is on Binance?
I guess the truthful answer is I don't know. I don't know what my first kind of thing was, but yeah, I do it all now, like a proper degen. Not so much I don't think I've really made any good returns on yield farming or anything like that. I just like to see and play around with the infrastructure, because I am a lawyer, and I know that clients are going to be coming out of that space, and I just like to know what they're building and what they're doing, and and see how it fits into our current regulatory scheme, which it doesn't very well at all, which is awesome.
So first you tried trading, and then you got into staking and yield farming. Are there any notable projects or things that you did that you were like, oh, this is so cool, when you first started doing it?
No, it's kind of like it's all cool. I guess you only think it's going to be really sweet when you make a great return on it, really. But I think when you move from centralized exchanges into DeFi properly, and before it was a bit more difficult than what it is now. Now it's quite easy. Even going chain to chain is quite easy now, even with the gas fees.
What do you mean by that?
Right. Yeah. Ethereum is the biggest layer one. Ethereum's its own infrastructure, and there are competing infrastructures like Ethereum that are just trying to take Ethereum's spot and take each other's spot. And what that means is they're just trying to be the sort of the layer upon which other people can build applications that bring in users, and it's always a financial bent. We know in like the 2017, 2016, and 2018 period still, it was, crypto's okay, but blockchain's great, and that's very much subsided. It seems that if you're using a blockchain, it should be for something financial. The uses for it otherwise aren't really there. And so all these people on these different competing layer ones, Ethereum, Cardano, and Cardano's one that's really out there, but Solana's a big name now, of course. And
so these are Ethereum competitors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're all just building an infrastructure upon which you can transfer assets. And as soon as you make that switch from using a Binance or a Coinbase or Wealthsimple or NDAX up here in Canada, and you go into a DeFi protocol, it's quite liberating, of course, especially if you then go to the next level where you're just interacting with a block explorer, like Etherscan. Etherscan allows you to interact with the contracts beyond the website. So even if the front user-facing website gets taken down, you can still interact with the blockchain and still participate in the transactions that you want to through a block explorer. Compound's a great example. I was going through this the other day, doing an analysis on the comp token, which is listed by a bunch of the crypto trading platforms here in Canada. And, Comp is wanting to appear decentralized, and it is to a decent stretch, but to interact with the Compound application, you would think that you need to use the website that has actually been developed by Compound Labs Inc., like an actual company, but you don't need to. You can bypass the website entirely and go to Etherscan and interact with the contracts for Compound, the actual protocol built on Ethereum. And once you figure out how to do that, it's like, that's cool.
And you don't know how to code, so I assume you need to know how to code to like interact with Etherscan or with the code behind the matrix. So how do you use Etherscan?
Etherscan.io. You should get comfortable with a block explorer to begin with, and just the best way would be to do a transaction in DeFi, and then whatever application you use, it will give you a hash of the transaction and usually a link to the block explorer. MetaMask will do this for Ethereum, or actually a bunch of other layer 2s built on Ethereum. And then you just follow that link to the block explorer and you can see the transaction, and then you can see the transaction in the block, and then you can see what else is in the block, and then you can just like investigate, and you can see like who's doing what. Of course, you don't know who's behind the addresses that are participating, but it doesn't matter. You can just sort of see transactions happening, and so you would investigate that. And then after you get comfortable with the block explorer, you could learn how to code, which actually I am doing now. I forgot to tell you, I have started coding because 27, it's like, if I do coding for 10 years, I'll only be 37, and I've been coding for 10 years. So like, I think it's a good investment. So I've started coding a little bit. But you don't need to. You can just like go on YouTube, and like people will tell you how to like interact with Etherscan. Maybe not for like the super far out application you want to use, like something that's built on like SHIB's blockchain or something. But for the big protocols, there's pretty much always a tutorial on YouTube.
Okay. And what are you learning? Solidity?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember,
but actually, it's not true though. Python, because in the 16-hour guide on Solidity I want to do needs a bit of Python first. So
did you? So just for context,
betrayal.
I tried to set up a challenge to like learn how to code over the winter break with Frank and then someone else, and Mackenzie, who was our last guest. I only got through 40 minutes of it, and it was like a 4-hour video that we were all supposed to go through. Did you go through the whole thing?
I can't remember what you shared. It's just I found my own method so I'm just doing it.
Okay, that's great.
I gotta share it with you.
And I'm enraged now because this means I've not succeeded and I'm falling behind. So now I want to go home and do.
Yeah, friendly competition. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. So I need to get my shit together. Let's see. So just for context, Frank and I met at a networking event at Work Nicer, hosted by Startup Grind in Calgary. And then we started talking, and I found out he's a crypto lawyer, which is the coolest job title I've ever heard. And then we chatted another day, and he told me about the Anchor protocol and how you can make 20% interest on your stablecoins, which is ridiculous because, I mean, a stablecoin is like a Canadian dollar or a US dollar. The value is pegged to that currency, but it's on the blockchain. So if you make 20% on that, on like $1,000, that's like $200 in a year, which is
about right.
Which is ridiculous because it's better than the stock market's returns. So how do you do that? A step by step. I want a step by step, and I also want to know how you found out about this.
Me and Eugene did meet at Work Nicer, and it was a good thing we did because Calgary, where we're located, Alberta, Canada, it's got a really great crypto ecosystem. There's some big companies based here. NDAX is based here.
Binance just moved here.
Binance Canada just incorporated here. So we'll see what that turns into.
Right.
But Yeah, Binance just moved here.
You were much more specific with your words. So
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, but if you incorporate here, you're going to move here.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what Binance turns into. They got some stuff to figure out, but they're incredible. So they will figure it out. Actually, it just might be a bit more difficult than what they want it to be. But
would you, if you were to guess why Binance chose to move out of Ontario and move to Alberta, why would that be? Is there something different in our regulatory environment?
Well, in Alberta or in Canada, when you're a crypto, we got to back up. Like,
Sure.
it's a lawyerly response, right? If you're a cryptocurrency company, you're big. You can't say friend. Your opponent in the government is always going to be a securities regulator. And so in the US, that's the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Gary Gensler.
Yeah, and you know, I did his course that he did at MIT. I did that entire thing, and
Gary's available on YouTube, by the way.
Gary's a good guy. He's really becoming a villain, but I liked his course. He really tried. Like he knows quite a bit. But yeah, we'll just see how that turns out. But in Canada, we have provincial securities regulators. So there's the real big one is the Ontario Security Commission, the OSC. In Alberta, we have the ASC, the Alberta Securities Commission. And I would say the only other one of real influence in the country is, of course, then British Columbia is the BCSC. I don't know why Binance came to Alberta. They've had a pretty rocky relationship, as we've seen in the news, with the OSC. But if you want to deal with Ontario residents, you need to still deal with the OSC. So it's not like they can just like come to Alberta and be like, we're not going to deal with the OSC because we're in Alberta. It's if you want to deal with the most populous province in Canada and onboard those users and interact with those users, you're going to have to deal with the OSC. And in certain respects, it might be even more difficult to do that if you're coming from Alberta. Whereas if you're in the province, maybe you can at least put up the image that, hey, we're here, we're trying. But when you come to Alberta, it does look a little bit like we're really trying to avoid you. But maybe they just like love the Rocky Mountains. I do. Like, still people at the end of the day. Right. Alberta's sweet. It's probably not why. I don't know why they did it, but I'm sure glad they did. We'll see what it turns into, though. It is just an incorporation here, but you'd have to assume if they incorporate it here, they're going to follow through with everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like for the reason to be that Alberta's regulatory environment is more friendly for crypto companies, and that drew them here. Thus making us more competitive.
It might be in the sense that the regulators are different. They are provincial. Like the Alberta Securities Commission is a distinct entity from the Ontario Securities Commission, so there necessarily will be differences. Maybe a little bit more cowboy out here, and Binance of all the big exchanges is the cowboy for sure, which is why they're awesome. But Ontario has all the customers, right. So you're gonna have to deal with the OSC. So
eventually,
pretty dang soon. Okay. Well, as soon as they want to deal with Ontario,
right?
Yeah. So there aren't different regulations, but one thing I've learned is that dealing with the regulators is quite a human process. There's the laws, and we absolutely need to follow them, or sort of like fit into them somehow with a little bit of flexibility. But it's going to be people interpreting that and helping your company get through that process of laying out how it is that they fit within the regulations. So it's a lot more human. For helpful context, I'm a second year securities and capital markets lawyer. If I introduced myself as a crypto lawyer, it's because I had a couple of these, so should be a bit more humble than that. But I do more crypto than I think a lot of people. I'd say 90% of my junior practice, because it is just junior, is about like 90% crypto. So that's a good thing. But I try not to. I shouldn't say I'm a crypto lawyer.
You're a crypto lawyer enough for me. I think
Nice.
I think that's a good way to describe you. And
Nice.
it's like 2 words. But we were talking about how you found out about the 20% interest rate.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
On Anchor.
Sorry.
No. Well, tangents are great, but
Um,
that was good.
Yeah, I think I just always have, I think about 30% of my like crypto wealth in like stable coins, or maybe a bit less than that, but a decent amount in stable coins, just because there's so many things that catch your eye all the time, and you never know when there's a big drop. And I know that you can get great yield on and you know, I haven't gone through. I can't even get through the white paper, let alone interpret like what it is precisely what it is Bitcoin miners do when they talk to each other. But I know that the Bitcoin blockchain has been around since 2008, so it is extremely robust, because if it was going to go somewhere, it was going to go somewhere. But like, I'm just not 100%, and so I just don't want everything in a non-stable coin crypto asset. So I keep a decent portion in stable coins. And so when you got that much in stable coins, you just Google what to do with your stable coins. And Luna, the Terra blockchain, is another one of those layer 1 blockchains that competes with Ethereum. I would say it's got the best shot of taking down. I think they can all get along for sure. And if we get into a pretty like flatline market for the next year, I would say that that's better for Ethereum for sure. But if there is going to be one layer 1 ecosystem to rise up, I know a lot of people point to Solana, but I think it's the Terra blockchain. They have a lot of things going for them, and the great team behind that, behind all the applications that are building on that layer 1. But anyway, Anchor is just one of these applications that has built on the Terra blockchain. And its development team seems to be very close with the development team of the entire Terra blockchain itself. So I don't know how much interplay there is between the two development teams. I think there's a lot. So I would say that Anchor is the number 1 application built upon the layer 1 Terra blockchain. It's certainly the one that I've interacted with. Maybe not the only one, but certainly the one I've interacted with the most. And what it is, it's a lending protocol like Compound. You can deposit a stable coin on the Terra blockchain called UST, not to be confused with USDT or USDC, which are different stable coins. This blockchain has its own UST, and you can deposit it into this collection of smart contracts, I suppose is what it's going to boil down to. And you deposit it in there to give liquidity for traders who want to borrow it and use it for trading, or whatever it is that proper crypto degens do with stable coins. And you get the 20%, because when those traders borrow the UST that you've deposited, they need to put up specifically cryptocurrencies that are able to be staked as collateral. So when the traders borrow UST, they need to pay interest on that loan that they've taken out. And because they've deposited cryptocurrencies that can be staked, the protocol also earns a return on the staking of those assets. So you can deposit Ether. Ether can be staked, 7% APR, something like that. The protocol will earn that return along with the interest being paid by the borrower. the people, the Anchor team who designed the application, the protocol, they have tried to set it up in a way, I suppose, with algorithms. I wish I could be more descriptive, that flattens out the yield paid to the person lending the UST, so us, the depositor. A lot of other protocols, the interest that they pay to the people lending or depositing the stable coins fluctuates immediately with supply and demand. If there's a high demand for stable coins, the interest goes up very fast. If there's low demand, the interest paid out to the lender goes down. What Anchor has done is they've designed it in such a way that the yield paid out to the lender, so us who have deposited the UST, it's designed to be just consistent. So in times when there's a lot of demand and times when there's little demand, I suppose they've factored that in. And when there's low demand from the borrowers, there's going to be some sort of reserve that has been built up that then gets paid out to the lenders to cushion their deposits' lack of demand. And in times of high demand by the borrowers, where they're willing to pay a lot for their loan, I suppose the protocol banks those extra profits and distributes them out to the lenders when demand is low. And what that results in is just like an unbelievably, like I think the first time I deposited into Anchor was maybe in like February or March of last year. And I've never seen it slip outside of like 19.1% and 19.7%. Like it's always, you're getting that
return.
And there's, a whole host of risks that go with a crazy scheme like that. But
yeah. So how do you manage that risk when you aren't able to understand the white paper that comes with it? Are you not afraid?
Not really. Like, there's like a bunch of malicious actors out there. Like even if I had the sophistication to understand those documents truly and like really just go into it.
You probably will when you're 37.
Probably not. There's like people coding these things since they were, you listen to podcasts with some crypto founders, like they're in it, and they've been in it before crypto. Crypto is just like a natural evolution of their technical abilities, and that's on the good guys building it and the bad guys out there,
the pirates.
Yeah, just breaking contracts and extracting funds. And I have faith in the people who build it, and I have faith in the people who want to exploit it. And if it hasn't been exploited yet, I would say that the systemic risk was always a big concern for me. And when the Solana blockchain stopped in October or something, I can't quite remember. A few months ago, the Solana blockchain just stopped, and I thought that was going to be game over, because the Solana blockchain, a lot of it's just, the argument is with the systemic risk is just that if something in crypto, because it's crypto Lego blocks, that's the nice thing about crypto, is that crypto can be everywhere at once, because even though there might be things like gas fees and a bit of expense to be paid, basically at absolute worst, within 24 hours, given some exceptions, you can basically get any crypto asset into any other crypto infrastructure that you want. And so because of that, these things are highly compatible, even if on those different layer 1 blockchains that we were talking about before, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, if one goes down, they'll all come down, because there's been crazy positions taken out on one that depend on the functioning of the other blockchain, and if the data from that blockchain that is no longer functioning isn't being delivered to the position open on the other blockchain, it just falls apart. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a very valid argument, but Solana stopped, and like I spent so much money in gas fees getting all of my money into risk off positions, into Bitcoin, into stable coins, and nothing happened. I just spent a whack ton of money on gas fees, and then nothing really happened. They got Solana going again, and it was really just no problem at all. And so that took away a lot of my concern when it came to what I thought was the major risk, which is systemic risk. If Bitcoin has a problem, I think that's when it's going to be game over. Like if Bitcoin's exploited. A good explanation I heard of Bitcoin was that it's the collateral for DeFi, and I think that's a good description
of Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin is sort of like the ultimate peg upon which all other crypto eventually comes back to.
So, how do you give me the step-by-step of how you can make 19 point something % on your UST stablecoins on the Anchor protocol?
The easiest way for sure is just to YouTube it. Nothing beats a good old YouTube demo. But if you want to try and listen to me,
yes,
Lane.
The first time you told me about this, I did YouTube it, and I didn't find videos that were that great. And the way that I figured it out was just by going to the Anchor protocol website
Nice.
and like reverse engineering it and just being like, I'm putting money in today, like if it's the last thing I do.
And you got it done?
I did get it done.
Nice.
But I still want to hear how you did it.
The first thing you'll need is this shouldn't be your first foray into crypto, because you should have already bought Bitcoin, which is always step one.
Yep.
But you need to have some familiarity with things like seed phrases. So what you'll need to do first is you're going to need to set up a wallet on the Terra blockchain. Some little island you can call your own on that infrastructure. And the easiest way to do that is the Terra blockchain developers, they have their own application called the Terra Station. It's an amazing, what's that thing called where you like, it's going to be like on your browser, like a web. It's not like a
extension.
Yeah, thank you. So they've got an amazing extension. You can access it within browser, and then they also have a desktop application, and they're all just really well done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
they're really nice.
I thought you had to use your phone or your iPad, and every time I want to look at my balance, I hold my iPad up to my computer, and okay, so you can download an extension. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have the Terra Station on your phone?
Yeah.
It's a nice app, right?
Yeah, it's quite simple and straightforward and
perfect.
Works well.
Yeah. So you can do it that way as well. But I did it on the desktop. It's, when you start getting into the block explorers, which you don't need to do, but it's always nice to have the option. So you'll just access Terra Station, and you can set up a wallet. And when you have a wallet, it's going to be an address to which you can deposit UST. And so you'll say, how do you get UST? Honestly, the easiest way is Binance has listed UST now. It didn't for the longest time, but now that Binance has UST, basically just get any crypto, get it onto Binance, buy any crypto from your domestic crypto broker. If you're in Canada, not Wealthsimple Crypto, because they don't let you take your crypto out of Wealthsimple Crypto, and that's why that's such a not good thing. So NDAX, Newton, Coinbase, Shakepay. Shakepay is awesome. I love that company. You can withdraw your crypto from that platform. Wealthsimple Crypto, you can't. So it's great for your parents, Wealthsimple Crypto, but maybe not for you. So purchase Bitcoin.
I have a tangent. I'll ask you later.
Sure.
Purchase Bitcoin on
or Ether or
exchange.
whatever. Yeah. Just get it onto Binance, exchange it for UST, withdraw that UST to your Terra Station address that you've just set up. Anchor, Terra blockchain in Google. The first result will be Anchor app. Open it. You'll see deposit UST will be one of the, I think it's actually earn. So like a sub menu. Yeah, tab. Yeah. Hit the tab, earn, deposit the UST, and then just withdraw it whenever you want. And whatever you've deposited in there is going to be earning about 19-20%.
Yep. I can verify that, that you do earn 19-20%. So it's so cool. Although I do it a different way. I need to try your way. I buy Luna and then I send it over to my wallet and then switch it on there to UST.
Swap it, yeah.
Swap it, and then I deposit the UST onto the protocol.
That was my way for the longest time too. But Binance listed UST, I think maybe I would say less than a month ago. And so now that is for sure the easiest way of going about it. If you just have like an anti Binance thing, you can do it that way, where you purchase Luna on some exchange that's not Binance, send that Luna to the Terra Station app, and you would do that by, again, having that Terra blockchain address, which you would have received when you open or when you accessed the Terra Station application. Put that into wherever it is that you've purchased Luna, send the Luna to that address, open up the Terra Station app if it's not open already, swap it to UST, and then when you log onto the Anchor app, which you just need to do in your browser, you don't need to download anything. I don't think there's actually anything to download. No,
there
no apps. No, it's just like you access it by the browser. You'll just do connect wallet, and then you'll connect your Terra Station wallet, or I guess your Terra blockchain wallet, and then it'll automatically, it will just read the blockchain, see how much UST you have, and it'll allow you to deposit it into their protocol. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it will be paying that as long as people are borrowing stable coins to trade crypto.
For a very long time.
It's good soda pops.
It is. I'm surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay, so the other question that I had with Wealthsimple, as I understand it, is that the advantage to Wealthsimple is that you can put your crypto into a TFSA, which is great if you're selling it eventually, or if you just want to, if you're eventually selling it. Do you know of any alternatives to Wealthsimple that lets you put your crypto into a TFSA?
Well, I think the closest alternative would be the ETFs, the Bitcoin ETF, the Ether ETF. I'm pretty sure those can be purchased with a TFSA.
Okay. Yeah, because they're stocks,
I think that'll be exactly.
Okay.
And I think that'll be the exact same. When you use Wealthsimple crypto, you're not buying crypto. It's just straight up fact. You're just not doing it. You're buying price exposure.
Right.
And for lots of people, that's cool.
Okay. What's your most bullish prediction for the future of crypto?
Oh man, I cannot wait to see what comes out of Southeast Asia and Africa. People really crap on Cardano, even though I think they're probably the most altruistic blockchain with Charles Hoskinson and what he's trying to do. And what he's trying to do is basically rebuild Africa's economy on Cardano. And I think his intentions are noble and genuine. He goes over there often and he meets with politicians. And I don't know if it will succeed. I think that it's more likely that another layer 1 blockchain or some cheap layer 2 built upon a layer 1 will do that job. I don't think Cardano will be the one, but I think what Cardano is trying to do is the best part of crypto, and that's what I'm most bullish on is just these amazing open access infrastructures being built in those places where infrastructures we take for granted here don't exist. And I think when the highly motivated, educated young populations of those regions just start playing around with crypto, it's going to be nuts. I think we're going to see some amazing businesses, some amazing entrepreneurs. It's going to be sweet. So I don't have any bullish coin prediction or anything or price points, though I do love Bitcoin. I think that guy's I hope it goes absolutely nowhere except to the moon. But the things that will come out of those parts of the world will be amazing. Yeah, so I'm very bullish on that.
Okay. How do you think smart contracts and crypto will undercut the legal profession?
Not too much.
Really?
Yeah. I was a big concern of mine when I was in law school. I was definitely studying crypto more than I was studying law. And the big part of that was this is going to take my job. But No, lawyers are going to be around forever. I'm learning that. The stuff we do is the ambiguities in a legal contract is a good thing, not a defect.
For lawyers. Wait, for
no,
for who?
Because like, no. If the stuff you can put into a smart contract, you would be the easiest, most simple part of a legal contract anyway. A lot of legal contracts come down to reasonableness, and that's difficult to code.
Right. Wouldn't I guess, but I guess you could argue that that's a flaw of a human's capacity for laying down certain terms, but that wouldn't be an issue with smart contracts because everything's very clear about what could happen. Not what could happen, but what will happen or will not happen. And so perhaps people who value predictability more than justice or some other value will go with smart contracts in the future rather than get expensive lawyers to dish it out in court. Or perhaps, like, the other thing is there are so many institutions that we've developed through the years to facilitate trust between people, and crypto, one of the ideas behind it is that you don't need to have a middleman anymore. And so institutions like notaries or the people who stamp stuff with their signatures, perhaps they that's basically all they do. Me. Oh, really?
Yeah, every lawyer is a notary public.
Right. So I mean, couldn't you just be replaced with a NFT generator or something like that? Or
yeah.
So,
but like no real, like, I suppose some of those very routine processes might get automated out, and hopefully they do realistically. But even then, like, the lawyer interprets the real world, the smart contract. Like, at worst, the lawyer will be telling the smart contract what happened. But you'd still need that lawyer, because if you just left it to an individual who's not a lawyer to tell the smart contract what happened in the real world, someone else might disagree with that person's interpretation of what they put into the smart contract.
Right.
And you're still going to need a lawyer to fix that.
Right. So this is like oracles and the issue of interpreting the real world and turning that into terms that you can use in a smart contract. In part.
Yeah. Smart contracts are very good for what they're being used for right now, which is reliable transfer value. They're not so far, it's not like they haven't had room to figure it out. So far, they haven't been very good at translating human, like, best intentions and reasonableness into on-chain. They're just not very
code.
Good. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I don't think it will undercut the legal profession anyway. It might change it, but it's not like it will. It might change it in that some of those routine aspects go away, but yeah, a lot of, like, it's not like for what I'm learning is that a lot of what we do isn't providing stuff we know to the client. It's the client has a problem, and then we need to problem solve how we do that, and then eventually we're going to tell the client this is what we think is the best course of action based on your intentions and the adverse party's intentions. And like a smart contract wouldn't help with any of that.
Like strategizing.
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're tempting me to apply for law school now, too. Okay. If you were a gambling man with no sense of risk, what would you do to get rich from crypto?
I'd probably just YOLO into one coin and then just wait for the next bull market.
Okay.
Yeah. But a very solid, I don't know. Yeah, probably something like that.
And just to be clear, YOLO means like putting 99% of your net worth into one coin.
Yeah.
And that means you could lose it all. It could also go up by 10,000% or 500,000% like Shiba Inu, and then you make a shit ton of money. Okay, that's good. If you were a risky man, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. Because I'm trying to figure out that question too. Like, I think we all are.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I told you this with Safe Haven by Mark Spitznagel. That's the reason why I wanted to learn Python, right? It was so if you're in an environment where an asset can grow by 500,000% over the course of a month, and you had $1,000 to invest. To me, it makes complete sense to just take $1 and buy every single shitcoin out there, or even 10 cents to buy every single shitcoin out there. Because even if one of them goes up by 500,000, then you turn that $1 or 10 cents into $50,000. You turn 10 cents into $50,000, and that more than completely makes justified your deep diversification. The issue, though, is what if none of them do that and you're just left with nothing? So you're comparing different strategies at the same time. And so the way that Mark Spitznagel invests is he has like 90% of his net worth. He maximizes the geometric average, but he makes small bets on really risky things, and he takes a lot of his portfolio and puts it in really safe things like cash. So anyway, that's
valid.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, I thought that would be the right approach, would be to put in a good chunk of change in each of the layer ones. And I just didn't put in, I did take that strategy, I just didn't put in enough change. And I was definitely late to the party too. But I believe that thesis, that does make sense in crypto.
Okay.
I think we're moving out of it though. I do think the altcoin rage is I think it's going by the side. We'll see.
When you say that, you mean like the bull market has ended, or people caring about the other altcoins as a way to get super rich?
I think people are becoming more sophisticated and are seeing a crappy coin for what it is. Like there's always going to be, anyone can access DeFi, so there's always going to be like a segment of that that's just a casino, and those people just love to play the casino, and all the power to them. But my friend group, for example, is becoming more like, before, any crypto that had a reasonable white paper, even though it wouldn't actually be reasonable, but they just thought it was, and had like any attempt of marketing, it's like, well, it does everything better than Bitcoin. But now that same friend group is like, no, we know now that the strategy is to sort of at least stay within the top 100. And that's just a shift I've observed in my friends. So I think everyone's going that direction.
Gotcha. 3 books or thinkers who have influenced your thoughts the most.
I was thinking about this one before. Podcast guests need to talk about what books they like.
Yep.
I try to read a very wide variety. I'm not particularly academic, and so I don't really burrow into a specific niche. I also just really enjoy lots of things. So a book will grab my attention, I'll just go for it. Over the Christmas holiday, I was reading the biography of Lee Kuan Yew.
Mm-hmm. Did you start reading that because Balaji mentioned it?
Yeah.
In Paris.
Though in my defense, I was considering it before, but he definitely got me there.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Who is Lee Kuan Yew?
Yeah, he was the founding father of modern, what we know as modern Singapore. So he held various political positions, sort of like Putin in Russia, just like he can't hold one position for too long because maybe it doesn't look too good, but he'll just go to another one, but he's still in charge. For Singapore for like 4 decades, basically. Even on his way out, he seemed to still be the authoritative figure. And he was great. He's an incredible guy. But one book that I do often return to, because when I first read it, it was quite enlightening, is a book called Dream of Reason by Anthony Gottlieb. And it's just a historical overview of the development of philosophy, pre-Socratic to about the Renaissance.
Okay.
So I guess about a 2,000-year period. And it's reassuring to me that for over 2,000 years, we've been trying to figure out the right way of going about things, and we still haven't figured it out. Because all the time I feel that, and I'm sure most people feel it, that you just haven't gotten things figured out quite as you're going about your life and the decisions you make. And I read that book when I was just finishing off my undergrad and also doing a lot of travel. So it was definitely a developmental time for me. And it was just like a huge relief. And I reread it quite often. I'd say maybe once a year now, maybe once every other year. Just because it's like, it's just reassuring to me. Everyone's trying to come up with life philosophies, and a lot of them have great attributes, but no one's really figured it out. And people a lot smarter than me have been trying. So I find that really reassuring. Yeah. So I like that book.
Okay. Lee Kuan Yew, The Dream of Reason.
Lots of other stuff. I'm just gotten back into fantasy recently. Yes.
And it doesn't have to be a book as well. I guess you can say podcast too, or a thinker.
Oh, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Some really good way to learn crypto is to listen to Jason Choi's, what is his podcast called? I don't know. I can't remember. It's just Jason Choi. He's the host. CHOI, Jason Choi. Block Crunch. Probably.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter. Jason Choi. His podcast. It really gets into it. He is, I think, a principal or a partner at maybe Spartan Capital, some proper DeFi VC fund, and he just gets founders of pretty cutting edge DeFi protocols onto his show, and he's a smart guy, and he just gets right into the nuts and bolts of how the protocol works, and you can really see what's coming if you listen to that podcast enough.
That sounds like a great podcast.
Yeah.
I will definitely be listening to a couple.
Because he's like I said, he's with a VC fund, so you get his motive. He is really interviewing to see like
what makes money.
Yeah. What's going to make money? Yeah.
That's a really good podcast to listen to.
Yeah.
I already know. Okay. And did you have any last thoughts or advice or warnings or cries of outrage you wanted to share?
Not really. Unfortunately, nothing insightful to say. Buy some Bitcoin. It doesn't need to be much, and get your family to buy some too. If they lose a couple $100, oh well. But if it becomes what it's probably going to become, it's much better that you bought some now.
Or just gift them like $5 worth of Bitcoin.
Totally.
They'll get so curious and they'll be like, I have some of that, don't I? And then 10 years from now, they'll be like, where's my seed phrase wallet?
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Frank, thanks so much for coming on to Letters from a Contrarian.
Thank you for having me.